Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So this story goes back, way back to 5 years ago actually, when I originally bought my RX-8. 5 years ago, when actually at the time I didn't even know how to drive. I was still a learner, and my dad actually had to drive the car back to my hometown on the motorway, because obviously learners aren't allowed to drive on motorways. So I wasn't even the first person to drive my car when I bought it, and I learned in this car for about 6 months. And yes, I genuinely did learn how to drive in a Mazda RX-8 as a learner. But this car was pretty much stock when I got it. I mean, there was a slight modification, as you can see in the picture, was that the baller S-style catback. Trust me, it was not a real one. I wish it was. It definitely was not. And this is what the car used to sound like 5 years ago. Yeah, I used to think that sounded good. I think I might have had a hearing problem at the time, because looking back at it now, one, the startup was already showing signs of really bad engine failure, and it sounded awful. Like, that Baller S catback was awful compared to what's on it now. So I guess if we're starting this story right at the beginning, we should probably look at what my first ever modification was on this car. And believe it or not, it was the rear lights. So there's a bit of a story behind this, where there was a car, an RX-8 that was getting scrapped on Facebook Marketplace locally, literally about 10 minutes, 5 minutes around the corner from my house. And I went, got the lights off this car for, I think it was £25 for both, which was insanely cheap. And this car had obviously suffered like catastrophic engine failure by the sounds of it. It had a pretty cool like square quad exhaust on it, which I was very tempted at the time to take it and replace it with the Baller S, but we didn't bother. All we took was the lights off it. And my lights, obviously, at the time were the stock RX-8 ones. They did have the usual water ingress into the lights, so when we put these new ones on, we had to seal them all up properly with a nice bit of sealant. But as you can see, these were probably one of my... I know it's my first modification, but genuinely, I think having the smoked LED taillights, especially with the white, just sets the car way apart to what it was when it was stock. Because when it was stock, the lights are a bit boring. But I feel like these LED ones, because they're much more like the R3 and like really like early 2000s, late 90s, like Japanese style, so much better. And I guess obviously that's then what started my modification journey with my RX-8 really. And the next thing that I wanted to do was get rid of that Baller S style catback. I mean, you can see in the picture it was past its prime, and I mean obviously this was a replica as well. And you can see the replica, you can see how bad the welds were on the tips as well. And it just didn't sound that good. Obviously, at the time, I thought it sounded brilliant because it was my car. But looking back at it now, I'm like, I can't believe I used to think that sounded good. So we got to work and we changed that. So we bought the Petit Racing catback. This was like the first modification I've ever done, like properly myself, like mechanical modification, if that makes sense. So this was a real learning curve for me. But we managed to do it. We managed to get the catback out. We got the new one in. And honestly, this was the coolest thing for me back in the day. I was over the moon with this. And to be fair, it made the car sound so much better like this.
Whoa! That's smoking well. Down there!
But that hype didn't last very long, because it started struggling to start cold, the car. The inevitable happened. Hot start issues.
Waiting for Perry. Paired.
That wasn't the end for this car. It got rebuilt, and when it got rebuilt, my god, did I give that car hell. So after this car was rebuilt, that's really when I got into track racing and racing in general. I was always a fan of F1, but I'd never gone any further than that. But once I got this car rebuilt, I started doing track days, and it all actually originated from JDM Castle Combe, where we just did a parade lap. And from there, literally like a month later, we jumped into Blyton Park, and the rest is history. We did Donington, Alton, and those were the main tracks that I hit over and over and over again, learning how to control this car. I mean, you can see from the pictures that there's a lot of, especially in this first one from Blyton Park, there was a lot of body roll on the car at the time because of, the suspension and down in roll bars, and pretty much the driver as well, because the driver was also at fault me. But I did about, in that space of, I want to say 8 months, did about 10 track days. Yeah, I really hammered home those track days and really honed some driving skills as well. It was a really fun time. We added a few more modifications to the car. The bucket seat, because I was really struggling on some tracks to stay in my seat without flying. I'm quite skinny, so the stock RX-8 seats were far too big for me. I was just flying left and right round corners, which, was costing lap time. There is probably a debate about how much this wing actually gives you downforce and performance, and I am using quotation marks here, even though you can't see it. But we installed the R-Magic rear spoiler, and I think this was one of the coolest looking mods that I've done to the car. It really sets the car apart, and I really think it sets into that RX-7 heritage with the really cool rear wings on the RX-7. And I think there should have been a special edition of the RX-8 that had a wing like this from factory. But I'm glad that I've got the R-Magic one on anyways, because it looks cool, and I really like the white on black colour scheme. But unfortunately, the hype of all these track days just wasn't going to last, because the car once again ran into a lot of problems, and it was at this point where the engine had failed early. The coolant seals had failed, and you guys know from the last video how that went down and how the engine looks, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But luckily, that's not where this car's story ended. Thanks to the work at Ryan Rock Performance, and actually me wanting to go through with the work, because the work did cost a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But I really enjoy my time with this car, as you can see in all the different videos and pictures. So the money really wasn't the question. This car it's been with me through ups and downs, and I couldn't just let it go. You had to rebuild it stronger and better than ever. And now, here we are.